The Kenise and Marc Show. The Kenise and Marc Show. Make sure you tune into the Kenise and Marc Show.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Kenise and Marc Show. I am Kenise.
I'm Marc.
And it's all about relationships. Thank you guys again for joining us today for a wonderful topic that we have today, which is nonverbal communication. Marc and I communicate a lot verbally.
Yes.
Verbally. But there are a lot of different ways that one can communicate non-verbally.
That's right.
So Marc, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes. Let's see. The eyes. Sometimes we can say a lot with our eyes.
What can you say with your eyes? I can't even see your
You
eyes.
can say that
You have four eyes.
right now. Yes, very funny. You can say with your eyes that I'm very disgusted with you right now. I don't want to look at you. You say that. You can say I love you with your eyes. You can say I'm lying with your eyes. Just so much. So sometimes in a relationship that can be helpful, then other times I feel it can backfire.
Right. I think also with the hand reactions. So the way like you're sitting right now, it seems like you're engaged in this conversation.
Yes.
So you're like very proper sitting, but if you were like slouched back and you were like this in the
Right.
chair, it would show what?
I'm not interested.
You're not interested when I like this. But it could be like wooing over him too, like oh, he's so handsome.
Either that or bored.
Well, too, bored, yes. But so nonverbal communication, I think from a professional standpoint, and I guess we could talk about nonverbal communication in like a relationship, but from a professional standpoint, we're talking about if you went on an interview, how important it is because you're presenting yourself.
Right.
You want to build a relationship with this company or whatever place you've gone in for the interview with. So when you go in, you want to be engaging. You want to be able to sit up and your posture and the way kind of you're engaging with your eyes, that you look interested even though you may not understand what they're telling you.
Right.
You know, your eye contact is there. So all of those nonverbal things and actions going on in that type of environment is very, very, very important. So when I meet with people to like talk to them about a job, like just the way they sit in the waiting area, I like to watch them in the reception area. Like if I would like deliberately like leave my office and go walk by, they don't know who I am. I see what they're doing. I first see if they're engaged, if they give eye contact. So usually, because most of the people, I mean, for most times, I work in companies that the people have to be engaging. The employees have to be engaging because it's all, community based and they help people. So if I see somebody like staring down at the floor, and really don't look up, it already for me represents in a nonverbal way kind of their character, their personality. Most of the times, and when I bring them in for the interview, I will tell you 9 out of 10 times, they were no. If I'm walking by.
Isn't that a little unfair though?
I'm telling you, if I'm walking by and they look up and they're like smiling and nodding and saying hello, it just shows that they are engaging they're able to fit into any type of atmosphere, any type of environment that they go into non-verbally.
But what if it could be one of those days that, something happened or a family member is sick and they're, so to kind of judge them on just because you walked in the room and they didn't look up.
Right.
Isn't that a little bit unfair?
Well,
as opposed to wait until the interview, because it's like, because I'm sure in their mind it's like, well, right now I'm not on.
They could be focusing,
I'm not on
right.
display.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about what I'm going to say, I'm thinking about how the interview's going to go,
Right.
and then once my name is called,
Yeah.
okay, now it's game time.
Right.
So
right. That's why I said 9 out of 10 times. I don't nix them. I still meet with them. But in the back of my mind,
but that's what I'm saying. In your mind, you already
Right.
kind of have an idea.
I have an idea, so then I would talk to them more so about that. I think if you're having a bad day, still it shows again if because of the type of industry that I work with is that you have to be engaging, right? So whether you have a bad day or not, you have to be able to leave that at the door. So you must be able, because you're dealing with clients or you're dealing with other humans, Like doctors, for instance, you know, they're allowed to, everybody's allowed to have a bad day. But because you're doing what you're doing, you have to be able to leave that personal situation at the door, come in, and you've got to be professional. You know what I mean? So it's something that I look for specifically when I interview.
I would never think that I'm being looked at before it's time for me to be looked at.
Right. Yeah, no, I do. It is very bizarre. I'm very bizarre. But it's worked. I've done it for so long now that people that I've mentored to call me and tell me, Kenise, I do this now, and you're like so on point. It's like I go out in a waiting area and I watch how to behave. I also I deliberately would leave magazines, like magazines about the company, always have it out there, and it shows good. You know, pick up the magazine. It looks like you're interested in their company. You know, read the magazine.
Right.
You know, so. And that too. Sometimes I think if they're on their phone the whole time, you know, some people, you know, walk from the back or whatever, you see that they're playing games. I'm telling you. Nonverbal communication. When we come back from commercial, we're going to talk about that nonverbal communication when it comes to your relationships.
The Kenise and Marc Show. The Kenise and Marc Show. Make sure you tune into the Kenise and Marc Show.
Oh, we're back, everybody.
Need some lip powder.
Yeah, right. We're back. Kenise is always playing tricks on me. She brings us back in, but
we don't say action in our show. We say powder.
And this time she was like, it was funny because she's like, Mark, but she did it without moving her lips. She said, Mark. Anyway, we're back.
Yes.
We're talking about
Nonverbal
communication.
Yes.
And we were talking about that aspect of it in the workplace. So we haven't tackled yet nonverbal communication in personal relationships.
Right.
I think it's so important to be in tune to your partner. So, you know, because sometimes you can be in public and you have to, I mean, really, you be in public somewhere and you don't want to just have an outburst. So it's important that, you know, you can read me and I can read you. Like, so my face says, that means we're going to talk about this when we get home.
But it doesn't have to be that drastic.
Like Ralph Crandon, like, bang, zoom.
Nobody knows what that is, but okay.
Am I that old?
You're that
old.
Is that Sanford and Son?
No.
Or is it, okay, Sanford and Son, okay, I don't know.
Sanford and Son. No, Sanford and Son is you big dummy.
Okay.
I say that to what was her name? She was ugly.
I don't know. Stella?
No, let's forget it. Stella? Who's Stella?
When you ran out of words, just use powder. Yeah, so nonverbal communication so it's important that when we are talking to like your significant person.
Oh, Aunt Esther, that's who it is.
Aunt Esther, yes, that's right, Aunt Esther. You see, you have to remember that.
I do remember.
But she didn't have much nonverbal communication. All of her communication was pretty much verbal.
Oh yes, it was.
So she was pretty much verbal. But it's so important, I think, when you're having a relationship with any of like your friends, you're able to pick up on those nonverbal communication vibes.
Right.
Not only with I think your spouse, but with children. You know, if we're building relationships with children.
Right.
You know, so I think when I was growing up, my parents didn't have to say, don't do that. I would just look at my mom and she would just give me a look. Mm-hmm. And that was the look of death. I mean, like either you better stop what you're doing, or the look said, you know what, when you get home, you're gonna get it. Really good. So it was just one look, and it happened during like church. Like if we were misbehaving during church or something, and she's like turns around, like no words came out of her mouth, but just turn and you just look like, oh, all right, let me straighten myself up.
That's right.
And so I think it's so important that we be cognizant of our nonverbal. In a relationship, going back to that, I think it's important that when you're speaking to one another with nonverbal communication, that it needs to be one of love. You know, I mean, anger is not a good, positive nonverbal communication, but one that is loving. I like what you said earlier, Mark, is that, you know, you show the person that, you know, there's some kind of caring that comes from that, the connection with the eyes and how you speak to one another with the eyes. I think that's important. The nonverbal communication should be used more so for love than reprimand.
All right. You know, there's going to be a reprimand or any kind of negative. It's good to greet each other, because sometimes you may be right in what you have to say, but it not be the correct time.
Right.
And you have to be able to pick that up.
Very true. And your eyes don't lie. Eyes do not lie. Mark and I were talking about before the show started, is like, we know if you ask somebody a question and they're probably going to lie to you, chances are they're not going to give you eye connection.
Straight, yeah,
they're not going to like look at you straight in your eye.
Right.
And we were talking about, because I've heard that when somebody tells a lie, and as they're saying the lie, they kind of look down and they look to the right. They look down and they look up to the right. That means that they're lying. He disagrees. And then they, you know, if they're telling the truth by them looking down and saying, well, they're answering, oh, well, you know, and they look up to the left, it means that they're
That is so ridiculous.
I know, but there's scientific proof. I've heard it so many times. I've heard it. I think it's also important with the eyes too, when you're talking to your children.
Oh yes.
So that relationship, that father-son, father-daughter, mother-son type of relationship, is that your eyes show them love, care. They feel protected just by the eyes. You may not have to tell them, and I think children can read kind of your facial expression and your body expression.
Yeah, I mean, in our culture, I mean, I don't know who made it that way, but usually it's the mothers who are so loving and caring, and it's the fathers who are the disciplinarians. So, you know, my kids come to me, and it's usually, you know, I have to figure out, okay, who did it and what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way I'm usually going to find out is that I got to look them straight in their face, you know, and they used to try to play me, because it was like 4 of them at the time. So I was like, try to, you know, and everybody's covering for each other, so you got to really, you know, like look through them.
Yeah.
You know, but the eyes, very important, very important.
Yeah. So in the long run, our advice to you guys today is that just check out your nonverbal communication. Look at yourself in the mirror, you know, and
It's not just eyes, the hands, your body,
Hands,
your whole body,
yes.
your whole body motion, your body.
I agree.
movement.
I agree.
And it's just, but relationship, you just kind of just hit it. You know, whatever you do, it should be something that's on a positive,
Yes.
in a
Yes.
loving, caring way.
Wait, that's genuine.
Yes.
That's genuine. So we hope you guys enjoyed our show today. Check us out on YouTube. Like us on Facebook. At the end of the show, we have our website information. You guys can check us out, and we would love to hear from you. Thanks again for joining the Kenise and Marc Show. I'm Kenise.
I'm Mark.
Love you guys.
The Kenise and Marc Show. The Kenise and Marc Show. Make sure you tune into the Kenise and Marc Show.